Now for business updates across the African continent, Rotas Adiri joins us. You know.
It's actually Marvel, the Marvel
No,
franchise.
excuse me,
Okay, I knew I wasn't causing any trouble this morning.
That is sacrilege.
In all of this, George Lucas was not mentioned.
Exactly.
Well, he sold it, but
yes.
Like he didn't exist, though.
No? Who would ever suggest George Lucas did not exist?
Like he didn't exist.
Who would ever suggest such a thing? Who would ever suggest such a thing?
Good morning, Mr. Penny.
Yeah,
good morning to you. Good morning, Rufai. And good morning to all our listeners, our viewers out there. So look, there's we've been in the news a whole lot, right? As far as the Arise.
And then the Russians.
Exactly, they're rushing us everywhere.
They're rushing us. We can't have enough.
Incredibly popular. So again, this day newspaper is in the news now. This is from Bismarck Rwane, renowned economist, managing director, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company Limited. We had him on the Global Business Report just on Monday, had an in-depth discussion on inflation. You can catch that discussion on our YouTube page. So he says that my attention has been drawn to what he calls a misleading headline in today's edition. That was yesterday's edition of This Day. Rwane, President's leadership style. No, let's go back. President's leadership style. Go back to that first tweet. Yeah, President's leadership style delivering least economic outcomes. And he now says, at no point did I ever say this to anybody. Then he says, the slides presented at the Lagos Business School were misinterpreted. And let's look at the second tweet. Take a look at a second. Yeah, the slides presented at the Lagos Business School were misinterpreted without my discussion or clarification from me. This day has promised to correct the error. I implore our young journalists to please stick to professional ethics and not be carried away by misguided enthusiasm. The article is actually correct. So let's take a look at it. This is from yesterday's, what was published. We take a look at that this day. So it says there, Rwane, President's leadership style, delivering least economic outcomes. The breakfast session he's referring to, and this is again, if you can still get your hands on it, this is yesterday's This Day newspaper. I understand they sell out pretty quickly, so good luck if you can get your hands on yesterday's edition. But and then Nigeria approaching the fiscal cliff with a fiscal deficit of 3.9 trillion. So let's take a look at what he's referring to, because now everybody's asking, where's the slides, where's this article? So if we take a look, this LBS breakfast session, this is what he's referring to. LBS is the Lagos Business School. Every month he gives an economic outlook with what's going on, using different economic metrics, basically the latest in what's going on. So let's take a look at the actual slide in question. This is it. And so he said, and that is the headline in the slide. It says leadership style and economic outcomes. So the business journalists at This Day interpreted the numbers, and so now we can't. This is just numbers. We extracted it on the Arise TV team. So we took it. Let's look at it one by one. So first off, GDP growth. This is from the slide. So we took this out. Nigeria's president's average GDP growth rate. Olusegun Obasanjo 7.7%, Yar'Adua 7.1%, Goodluck Jonathan 5.5%, and President Buhari 1.1%. So that is the least outcome for average GDP growth. Let's take a look at the next one, average inflation. For President Olusegun Obasanjo, 12.9% is what he averaged. Yar'Adua averaged 13.8%, Jonathan averaged 9.7%. Buhari had the highest average of inflation of all of them. So again, that's the least economic outcome of that average. What was next? I think it was the exchange rate. Yes, this is the percentage depreciation in the exchange rate over the course. Now you can see the Mars difference here. Exchange rate depreciated by 26% during Obasanjo's tenure, 27.4% during Yar'Adua's, 63.5% during Jonathan's, and you can see there Buhari's 150% if you take what the exchange rate was when he came into power and where it is now. So again, next up, what was it? Reserves, external reserves. So okay, here the President Buhari actually does better. So Obasanjo had at the end of his period 43.1 billion. Yar'Adua had 32.34. Jonathan had 28.57. Buhari actually does pretty well here. He's in second place after Obasanjo. He had, as of now, 39.1 billion is what we have in the external reserves. Then we go to external debts, I believe. External debt in dollar terms. Yeah, so this is where Obasanjo did really well. He had about 3 billion in external. Remember, he did, with Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as, the Minister of Finance, Paris Club, all that, paying off our debt. So he had 3 billion in external debt. Yar'Adua had 10 billion. Jonathan had 15 billion. And as you know, if you've seen the latest numbers from the Debt Management Office, Buhari is currently sitting at 40 billion. And what FDC did, they subtracted external debts from the reserves. Wow. So yeah, they said what they did was okay. can your external reserves pay for your debt? So that's the next slide, and I think you already know the answer to this. Let's take a look at that. So when you subtract it, president's reserves minus that, because Obasanjo's was so low, he ends up with 40 billion left in reserves. If we back out the external debt, Yar'Adua ends up with 22.34, Jonathan ends up with 13. And unfortunately, Buhari ends up with a negative 820 million or so from that. So, you know, the business journalists at this day simply went through the numbers, and that is the natural interpretation of the reports. Real quick.
Let me see if his logo is on that particular slide page.
No, it is. It's FDC from there.
Play it again.
But the thing is this, right? The takeaway from this is that we are about to elect another leader, right? So who can turn Nigeria's economy around? And it is when you look at the candidates that we have, the major ones from the ruling party, the opposition, and the NNPP and Labour and so on, who is it that's going to be able to turn around? And this is why this presentation that Financial Derivatives put forward at that breakfast session was very important, because that, and a credit to the This Day business journalists that went through that presentation and put that out there so that you can be informed on the metrics that are economic metrics that you will use to inform your votes in 2023. So when you look at the candidates that are running, okay, how are you going to bring inflation down? How are you going to give us GDP growth? How are you going to grow the external reserves? How are you going to reduce our debt? So on and so forth. That is the question. And then finally, Ghana. Oh my goodness. Year-on-year inflation in Ghana has reached another new high, 31.7%.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what we got.
Wow. Okay, so two things. Number one, I mean, it's crystal clear.
It is.
It's crystal clear. I mean, I don't want to dwell much on that, but it just shows that leadership style is indeed a problem. Yeah, you can make arguments and say, okay, crude oil price was low when President Buhari came in, but crude oil price is high now.
Yes.
So why are we not repeating the dividends?
Okay, actually, you know what? You bring up a very good point. And
that's the argument that wanted me.
Unfortunately for President Buhari, as I said here, he has the distinction of having a hat trick of recessions every time he's been president. From the 80s as a military general and 2020 and 2016. Okay. Unfortunately, oil prices crashed in 83. Oil prices crashed in 2016. Because of COVID, oil prices crashed in 2020. So it's just... It is what it is. So I just wanted to put that out there. But
you know, his timing hasn't been favorable.
His timing has not been favorable to him.
Price, But crude oil price is now up.
It is.
But we're struggling to
take advantage of it. Exactly.
We're struggling to pay subsidies.
Right.
That is taking away all the money.
Right.
And the subsidies biting deep. We don't even have any money.
Right.
There's also corruption in the system. Did you hear the story of the Attorney General that said stole over 100 or something billion, saying he wants a plea bargain now? So that means has he accepted that he stole the money?
Right.
You get. So we have all of this, and management styles does matter.
It does.
There are times that country go into dire situation, but the economy still looks up. And I will take you back to the 60s when we fought a civil war in this country. In the thick of the war, the setting of Obafemi Awolowo ran the economy of this country, and he ran it well. And he took risks, because then we're still spending the sterling. Another thing people don't attribute to Obafemi Awolowo, that he was one of those that championed bringing Nigeria out of the sterling union and still stabilize our currency, the naira, and ran the economy effectively.
Yep.
So
leadership style
matters. There's no excuse. If Obafemi Awolowo could do it, could fight one of the most expensive wars
and still
stabilize the economy, and still have the bonus to take Nigeria out of the sterling union and still stabilize a new currency.
I get you. Leadership
matters.
Mr. Ifeni.
Yes. I would like to have that first slide again, where you have the title.
The article?
No, not the article now. The breakfast.
Okay, yes, the breakfast.
Yes, I would like to have that slide.
The breakfast.
What was the title?
Okay, it was 5 baffling questions. I think that was the title. Is that let's go back to the first one. Leadership style. Okay, that one. Yes, okay.
And economic outcomes.
Yes.
That's the title. That's Mr. Rwana's.
That is Mr. Rwana, and that's FDC. And
leadership
is that the logo? That's the logo.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Leadership styles and economic outcomes.
Yes.
Now, what is it quarreling about?
I don't get it.
Exactly what he's saying.
The headline of this day.
Right.
You know I'm an executive director.
Of course you are. Yes, you are.
Because that headline has been taken from its own paper.
Exactly.
He made the correlation between leadership style and economic outcomes.
And economic outcomes.
Yes, yes.
And clearly, all the metrics you just highlighted show that President Muhammadu Buhari had performed worse than his predecessors.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is the offense of this day?
This day was accurate, right? It is what it is.
Well, and when you even talk about oil prices, when the Ukraine war started, and oil price went up through the roof.
Yep.
What was the reaction of the Buhari administration? The ministers were saying, no, we are not comfortable with 100. We are more comfortable with $70.
Right.
Scandalous thing to say.
Again, leadership style.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure. But you said somebody said they will correct it. I don't know what they corrected.
There's no correction.
no
They
correction.
already published.
Correcting.
Yeah, that was in his tweets, but there's no correction. It's in the record. It's published. It's yesterday's paper.
But he made the correlation.
exactly.
And he used the word, he used the term leadership style.
And economic outcomes.
Outcomes.
It is straightforward.
This is factual report. We've given them facts now.
This day, Nigeria's newspaper on record.
Bias.
There's no bias there.
No, you know, the truth is really painful. This is why people have to take these positions.
Exactly.
The truth hurts. It's bitter.
And Rotus, you know that we don't take prisoners.
Exactly. We don't. We just report.
If a reporter misrepresents Mr. Rwane, I'm sure we'll take some action. But what we're seeing here, leadership styles and economic outcomes. The headline was taken from its own paper. So what is the problem?
No problem there.
Look, I don't want to go into all those things.
It's accurate. It's accurate. So yeah, 2023 is important. Leadership is important.
Yeah, simplicity. Thank you.